Hello. Today's session is the Oracle Enterprise Manager 12c Administration. Who am I? My name is Alfredo Krieg. I'm a senior Oracle Cloud Administrator at the Sherwin-Williams Company. We are based in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm an Oracle ACE Associate. I've been working in Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 12c and database performance and performance tuning since 2004, and I'm 11G certified. I'm also writing in the blog bitcode.blogspot.com. Feel free to go to the blog. I'm trying to blog once a week, and I'm trying to express my experiences and to write about tips and things that help me every single day to be better DBA, and also the solution for problems that I'm facing while I'm working as a DBA. This is a little bit about Sherwin-Williams Company. We are the largest producer of paint and coatings in the US. We're among the top 3 worldwide. We were found in 1866 in Cleveland, Ohio. Next year, 2016, is our 150th anniversary. In 2013, we had more than 10 billion in sales. We're making business in more than 120 countries, and we have more than 32,000 employees. We also have more than 400 company-owned stores, and we have more than 90 manufacturing facilities globally. You can see some of our brands, of course, Sherwin-Williams, Dutch Boy, Duron, Thompson, Waterseal, Minwax, Krylon, among others. If you want more information about Sherwin-Williams Company, go to www.sherwinwilliams.com. This is why I'm writing this presentation, and mainly is because as an enterprise manager administrator, you're responsible of a wide variety of tasks, including the discovery and maintenance of targets, deploying plugins to the OMS and the agents, tune the OEM 12c performance, which is his main thing, maintain backups if you are backing up all your databases using Enterprise Manager, and also creating backups of the Oracle Enterprise Manager, among others. It depends if you have cloud services, self-service, tuning alerts, etc. With such consuming tasks, you need to find the most efficient way to manage the Oracle Enterprise Manager. What happened to me is at the end of my day, I have a pile of tasks that I had to do, and it was already 5 p.m. So I'm trying to follow the best practices. I'm trying to automate tasks and also use the MCLI command line to help my day, and have more free time to spend on different tasks. This is the agenda that we're going to cover today. The first part is the lifecycle management of Oracle Enterprise Manager. So I'm going to show you how to use EMCLI to deploy multiple plugins at once, apply OMS plugins and agent patches during the same maintenance window, and how to mass deploy agents to your hosts. The second part is about the security. I will show you how to secure your sysadmin account, how to secure and lock the OMS and agents, and how to use EMCLI to configure the audit system. The first part, we're talking about, let's talk about the lifecycle management part. So how to use the EMCLI and why to use it to deploy multiple plugins at once. So if you go to the main menu in Setup, then you click on Extensibility and Plugins. You're going to have this main screen, and you're going to have a list of plugins and the versions that you can deploy to the OMS. Keep in mind that first you have to deploy the plugin to the OMS, to the management server, and then you have to deploy the plugin to the agent. The plugin is nothing more than an extension of the base OEM. Let's say you want to monitor WebLogic. You have to use and deploy the Oracle Fusion middleware in order to discover WebLogic and be able to monitor it, create alerts, and manage WebLogic. So the first part to monitor and deploy the functional middleware is to deploy it to the management server. Here I select Deploy Management Server, and this is going to pop up this deploy plugin on the management server screen. The first step is going to run some prerequisites. You can see how it's working over here and the status of the prerequisite check. One is successfully completed, you can click Next, and you are ready to deploy the plugin on the OMS. This screen is going to show you that this deployment of the plugin on the management server requires downtime. That means it's going to shut down the OMS. Nobody is going to be able to get into the OMS, check for target status, not even getting alerts. So you have to plan and get a downtime with the business in order to deploy plugins to the OMS. One important thing is you have to get a backup of your repository database and the OMS, the configuration of the OMS. This means an export config. So if you are ready, you click Deploy, and the console is going to shut down the OMS, is going to deploy a plugin, is going to modify the repository tables and add new columns and new stuff, and then it's going to bring up the OMS. But let's get in a scenario that you have to deploy two plugins in the OMS. That means we're going to shut down the console, it's going to deploy the plugin, it's going to bring up the console, you're going to log in and run the same process for the second plugin. So you're spending time, and some enterprises or some companies don't have the required downtime allowance to shut down the OMS 3, 4, or 5 hours in a day. So I'm going to show you how to use the MCLI in order to deploy both plugins at once and save time. In order to do it, I'm going to use the deploy plugin on server, which, if you see the description of this command, is going to deploy process for some plugins, and to the OMS it might restart the management server. So if the plugin is already deployed on one of the servers, this server is skipped. If a lower version of the plugin is already deployed, the plugin is upgraded. If a lower revision of the plugin is already deployed, the new revision is applied. So in order to do it, I'm going to use MCLI deploy plugin on server. I'm going to specify which plugin. In this case, I want to deploy the DB plugin 12.105 version and the functional middleware, which is EMAS 12.105 at the same time. So I'm going to specify the sys password, and what I'm going to specify over here is the use last prerequisite result. What is the meaning of this? If we go back, you see here that I already checked the prerequisites, so I can also save time to use the last prerequisite check result. If I don't want to do it, or if I didn't do it on the console, I can always use the prerequisite check. So it's going to run the same process. As I didn't do it for the database, I'm going to specify the plugins, and I'm going to specify prereq check. It's going to do the prerequisites, and at the end is going to say, okay, again, you have to get a repository backup and an export config of the first management server. So once you do it, use this flag, repo backup taken, to confirm that this has been backed up. Run it, and this is just a graph of a comparison of time. I did deploy the database plugin and the Oracle Fusion middleware from the console, and it took close to 200 minutes. Then I did it in a different environment using MCLI, and it took a little bit more than 100 minutes. So my savings were around 91 minutes, which is a very good time to saved for the downtime. So I can spend that time applying patches, applying PSUs, modifying configuration of the OMS that requires downtime. So what I'm doing is trying to be a little bit more efficient and saving time when possible. The same way, if you want to deploy multiple plugins at once to the agent, the good thing here is you can also deploy several plugins to several agents using MCLI. So let's say you want to deploy the same plugins that we deploy first to the OMS to 2 hosts. You can do it here right away. So you're going to save clicks and you're going to save time. Next, I want to talk about how I suggest you your maintenance window, how I do it, and how I'm saving time. So I suggest to perform monthly maintenance on the OMSs because there are new plugins, there are new patches that can be applied, they're enhancing monitoring, they're fixing issues to the OMS. So I already agreed with business that I will have 1 day a month of downtime in the OMS. Then first I'm going to test all the patches and plugins on my QA environment. Sometimes you have to apply patches in the middle of the plugin deployment, if not it's going to fail. And you have to learn and write down all the steps you did to apply the plugins in QA, so you're not going to have any surprises when you're applying in production. Always verify that your old patch is up to date. I can tell you by experience, I was using a older version of OPatch, and I was missing new functionality of OPatch. When I was applying a patch, a PSU, a huge PSU that included like 6 or 7 patches, I had to run several steps for each one of these patches. At the end, we were talking about 54 steps that I have to run. So OPatch was creating a text file saying, okay, this is step 1, run the step 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was doing that manually. So I was wasting time. When I verify and I upgraded my OPatch, OPatch is automatically executing all the steps only in one script. So always verify it. They're enhancing the OPatch. I can say like every 3 or 4 months. So give it a try, and it's going to help you a lot. Next, always shut down the JVM diagnostics and the APD before applying any patch. It turns out some patches are modifying core tables in the repository, and sometimes the JVM diagnostics and the APD are touching those tables, causing logs and making your patch deployment fail. So always check. Try to apply all the required changes on the same window. So deploy the new plugins. Use MCLI. You already saw how many time you can save over here. Apply OMS patches, PSUs, and patches. Apply all plugin patches. I want to spend a little bit of time here. For every plugin that you are applying, Oracle is releasing patches to fix these issues. When I upgrade my OEM Cloud Control to the latest release to 12.104, the new database plugin has a bug, and it was consuming a lot of CPU resources in my repository database. So the fix was to apply a patch on top of the plugin. So always verify that you are also applying patch to the plugins. I think they're running every 3 months, every quarter. They're releasing new patches for plugins. So give it a try and check on Metalink about the latest patches. And apply patches to your standby environment if you have one. Don't forget about your standby. Always mirror it with the same configuration that you have on your active production environment. And don't forget about the agent patching. This can be done while the OMS is up and running, but don't forget to patch the agents as well. Remember that the agents are the ones that are connecting to your targets. If you're monitoring databases, these guys are the ones that are making the connections to the production databases. So it's important to have a decent level of patching in the agents. And the third topic about lifecycle management is how to perform mass agent deployment. So if you go to setup and add targets manually, this is the main screen that you have. The first option is to add host target. So I'm going to click here and add host. It's going to take me to the host and platform details. The first thing you have to fill over here is the session name. This is like the job name of the session name that is going to apply all the patches. Sorry, apply all the agents to the servers. Then click Add, and you're going to specify each host name. Please specify and type the full qualifying name of the server. Then you can choose the platform. It can be different for each host, or it can be the same for each the host you are trying to deploy the agent. So you have two scenarios here. The first one is you have different platforms. So host 2 is an Oracle Solaris, and host 1 is a Linux 64-bit. If you have different platforms, the only option to deploy the agent is the first agent install. Okay? So the other two, the clone existing agent and the add host to share agent, are disabled. The reason why is you have different platforms, and it's not possible to clone and specify different type of agents to clone to different type of platforms. And if you are also trying to add a host to share agent, the share agent can only serve the same platform. So that's why these are disabled. But on the other hand, this is a different example. I have two hosts with the same platform. Then you can clone the existing agent and select the target. Clone existing agent is really nice because what I'm doing is I already have one agent that it's having all the patches and configuration that I want, and I'm just cloning all these patches and configuration to the new deployed agent. So I'm saving time. Just imagine going and deploy 10 agents with a fresh agent install, and then apply all the patches, modify the configuration, and so on. So I'm saving time over here. I'm not really using the share agent for a different host, but it's also something that you may want to try. So again, if you have the same platform, you can use the two options to clone the agent and add the host to share agent. Okay? It's the same platform, so you have the options enabled. Now, let's talk about those three options. So, what is the first agent install doing? It's just installing the vanilla version of the agent. And again, if you will have to apply patches, and you have to modify the configuration if you have to. So just do it once and then close the existing agent. So it's going to install that agent using an existing source agent that is well tested and patched. Okay? And the third option is to add host to share agent. What it's doing is installing an agent using an existing master agent that is running on a NFS on a share file system, and you are just using only one agent to monitor several servers. So you can put some pressure to the agent. I never tried this third option, honestly. Another tip about here is if you are deploying the agent on several hosts, you only can specify one installation base directory. That means you have to have the same naming conversion for the file system you want to install the agent. Let's say you are deploying the agent on /u01/app/oracle/agent. That directory should exist in all the servers that you are trying to deploy the agent. The same for instance directory, and the same name credential. That means it has to be the same username and the same password for all the agents. For all the servers that you want to deploy the agent. And also consider that you are going to use the same port, so try to find out a port that is available on all the servers. Of course, you can also use EMCLI to deploy agents to hosts. This is the command submit add host. You specify the host names. This is a host list. Then you specify the platform with the platform ID. There is an MCLI command get platform ID, so you can use it to get the platform ID you want to deploy the agent to. Then you specify the installation base directory. the credential name, the port, the instance directory, and the credential owner. These are optional parameters. This wait for completion is going to, the MCLI command is not giving you the prompt until all the agents are deployed. It's like a synchronous deployment type. Another one is the source agent that you want to clone, if you want to use the clone agent, or the master agent name if you want to use the share agent. This was the lifecycle management part of Oracle Enterprise Manager. Moving forward, we're going to security, and again we have three topics: how to secure your Sysman schema account, secure and lock the OMS and agents, and use EMCLI to configure the audit system. So, why to secure your Sysman account? Well, Sysman is the schema owner, so this is the more privileged account, more than a super administrator, and if you do something wrong, you can really harm the system. So that's why I don't recommend you to use the Sysman as a regular administrator. Another thing is, if you use regular users and administrators, you can audit the operations doing by this account, so you can check what happened and what their users are doing inside Cloud Control. So if you want to enforce this, but you already know that there's people that has the Sysman account, and there is a way they can figure out the Sysman account password, you can force the OMS to lock the access from the console and MCLI. However, the Sysman account is going to be able to get the status OMS, and still is going to be able to log into the database as Sysman directly from SQL+. If you want to do it, you go to the database repository, log in as Sysman, and you issue this update to the management_creator_users table. You're going to set the system_user to -1, where the username equals to Sysman. This is going to disable the access from the console and MCLI only. If you want to enable it, you just set it to 1, and users are going to be able to log in as Sysman. If you want more information about this command, you can go to my blog, click here, and it's going to take you to the Oracle Enterprise Manager security. The next topic is how to secure and lock the OMS and agents. Oracle is recommending that all the communications between the OMS, the agents, the repository, and the users is made by the secure mode. That means HTTPS. It's the best secure mode. It's harder for people trying to intercept packets and get information from the network. So in secure mode, the HTTP port is locked. But how we're going to do that, I'm going to show you in the next slide how to do it. So secure mode is enabled by default, but it happens to me during the upgrade to 12.104 that the upgrade process did not resecure my OMS. So you have to check first if your OMS is locked or not, and then try to secure it. Agents should also be secure in order to make use of HTTPS. So if you secure the OMS but not the agents, they're not going to be able to communicate with a secure OMS. So you are not going to monitor those servers having the agents not secured. How to check if your OMS is secure and your agent upload is secure? You just issue the MCTL status OMS hyphen details, and it's going to give you some information about the Oracle Enterprise Manager version, the console server host, the ports that are running the HTTP, the HTTPS, and you can see here it's going to show you that your agent upload is unlocked. That means it's not secured, and the OMS console is unlocked. It's not secure as well. So how to secure it? You just make use of the MCTL secure lock command. It's going to ask you for the Sysman password, and it's going to take a while, like a minute or two, and then it's going to secure your OMS over the HTTPS ports. Also, it's going to log the agent upload, so all the agents can now use the HTTPS port to upload information to OMS. Then it's going to prompt restart OMS, so you have to do it manually. You just stop the OMS and then start the OMS again, and it's going to work. After you secure your OMS, you can check again, and you can see now that the agent upload is locked and the OMS console is locked as well. Next, how to secure your agents. It's very easy. You just issue the mctl secure agent command. What it's going to do is going to stop the agent, then it's going to secure the agent, and it's going to prompt you for an agent registration password. What is this password? That means if you want to deploy and secure an agent, you can specify a password that you can define inside OMS to be able to the OMS to say, okay, yes, I know that agent can belong to my configuration. That agent can be defined when you're installing the OMS, the Oracle Enterprise Manager, or you can go inside the console and define a new agent registration password, so you can have several ones. When you type here, it's going to secure the agent, then it's going to restart the agent, and at the end it's going to say if the securing agent process was successful or not. At this point, both the OMS and the agents are secure, so both are using HTTPS protocol to communicate data and target information, so you can be in a better position against any threat or any network intrusion if you have some problems in your network. And the last topic about security is how to configure the audit system in Oracle Enterprise Manager. Okay, first thing is you have to know that some basic audit is already enabled by default in the Oracle Enterprise Manager console. So whenever a user log in or log out, the action is already audited. These are more default audit operations by default, like apply and upgrade, like change the management view user password, change the Sysman repository password, configure the authentication, copy the Enterprise Manager key to the repository or remove the Enterprise Manager key from the repository, create a custom corrective action, remove an update, secure the console, secure and log the OMS like we did in the past operation. But you can use mcli commands to enhance or enable or disable these audit operations. So you have the enable audit and disable audit to turn on and off the audit operations. Show the operation list, show the audit settings for this list, or update the audit settings. So if I want to show you the mcli command, how I'm doing the update audit settings. So the first one is audit switch. You can enable or disable the audit inside OEM. The next one is the operations to enable or the operations to disable. There is an externalization switch, enable and disable. There is a directory name for this externalization. There is a file prefix and a file size and a data retention period for this audit. The first one, the audit switch, of course, is just enabling and disabling the Enterprise Manager audit system. The operations to enable, you can specify all if you want to enable all the operations, or you can specify all the operations separated by comma. The operations to disable, again, can disable all the operations if you specify all. The externalization switch is going to enable the audit data export servers. So let's say you have a third-party application that is getting all the audit data, like a repository. You can extract and export all this data to this third-party application. You can specify a directory where this data is going. a file prefix if you need a different file prefix by default, the file size, which the default is 5 megabytes, and the data retention period, which by default is 1 year. If you want more information about the audit system, you can go to this manual page of Enterprise Manager, the security features, and it's going to give you all the information, and there's a list of all the operations that you can enable and disable in your Oracle Enterprise Manager. If you want more information, here is the Enterprise Manager Cloud Control Security Guide. This is Enterprise Manager Cloud Control Administrator Guide, and this is Enterprise Manager Command Line Interface Reference for the MCLI that includes all the verbs available and how to use it. Also, I want to give you some insight about my next presentations. I'm going to present this same presentation with a little bit more information about cloud control in the Collaborate 2015 in Las Vegas. This is going to be from April 11th to April 16th. Also, I'm going to be present in the Great Lakes Oracle Conference, which is going to take place in May 19 in Cleveland. If you have any question or you need more information about this presentation, you have my details in the second page. There's my email address. Don't hesitate to send me any questions by email or go to my blog. There's a comments part at the bottom of each post, so go there. If you have any comments, let me know. Thank you very much for your assistance to this JoinSQL seminar. Thank you.